The day began like any other. The sun rose over Nagasaki, spilling soft golden light over the hills and rivers. Children laughed as they walked to school. Shopkeepers opened their doors. Ships rocked gently in the harbor. No one knew the sky itself had planned a terrible silence. 3 days had passed since Hiroshima. 3 days since the first atomic bomb had turned a city into ashes. And yet, the leaders in Washington saw that as not enough. A second bomb would fall, this time on Nagasaki. It carried a name that would haunt history, Fat Man. The B-29 bomber Boxer climbed steadily into the morning sky. Inside, pilot Charles Sweeney and his crew held the fate of tens of thousands in their hands. The target was Kokura, but clouds and smoke forced a sudden change. Nagasaki became the city of fate. At 11:02 a.m., the bomb dropped. For 43 seconds, the world held its breath. Then, a flash brighter than 1,000 suns tore through the sky. A deafening roar followed. Mountains trembled, rivers boiled, and buildings were obliterated in a single heartbeat. People did not scream. There was no time. Mothers clutched their children, only to vanish. A man crossing a bridge became a shadow etched into stone by fire. A young nurse's eyes met a white flash, and the hospital around her disappeared. The fireball rose to nearly 4,000 degrees Celsius. Everything within a mile was vaporized. Trees, cars, animals, people, nothing remained. The air itself became lethal. Those who survived wandered like ghosts. Skin hung from their bodies, eyes could not bear the light. Rivers were filled with those desperate to escape, dying in the boiling waters. The hypocenter of the blast was near Urakami Valley, home to a massive cathedral, schools, and hospitals. The cathedral, the largest in Asia, vanished in smoke. Father Takashi Nagai, a doctor and survivor, crawled through the ruins searching for his wife. He found only her rosary, fused to glass by the heat. He wrote later, "The flames consumed everything, except faith. Communication lines were destroyed. Roads disappeared. Chaos reigned. The American government knew exactly what had been done, waiting for Japan's surrender. President Truman announced the bombing to the world. Another atomic bomb has been dropped. If Japan does not surrender, more destruction will follow." Meanwhile, survivors walked among ruins, drinking poisoned water, breathing radioactive air. They suffered fever, vomiting, bleeding, and despair. Shiro, a young boy, wandered near the cathedral ruins clutching charred bread. When asked where his parents were, he pointed to the ground and said, "They're sleeping." Innocence had been erased by fire. At night, the city glowed with lingering fires. From the mountains, Nagasaki appeared as a sea of red embers. Some American pilots later said, "It looked beautiful, but it was hell." Scientists could not reach the city due to radiation. Even birds flying too low fell dead. Nurses cut their own clothes to wrap the wounded. Some wrote last letters on scraps of paper, messages that would never be delivered. One note read, "If anyone finds this, tell the world, we didn't deserve this." And yet, amid the horror, something persisted. Not anger, not hatred, but quiet faith. Survivors lit candles in the cathedral's ashes. They sang weak hymns over ruins, voices trembling but unbroken. The bomb could destroy bodies, buildings, even hope, but not human spirit entirely. Back in Tokyo, Emperor Hirohito learned of the devastation. 2 cities erased, hundreds of thousands dead, more bombs ready to fall. On August 10, the cabinet met in an underground bunker. Some generals wanted to fight to the death. Others saw no Japan left to defend. The emperor spoke, "If we continue, we will destroy what remains of our people. We must endure the unendurable." Japan would surrender, but for Nagasaki, the dawn had already died. There was no sunrise, only smoke and dust where life once thrived. As the days passed, the city struggled to breathe. The rain carried ash and poison. Streams were radioactive. Hunger, thirst, and disease stalked the survivors. Yet even in despair, the human spirit clung to life. Doctors and nurses worked with nothing but scraps. They held hands over the dying, whispered prayers, and tried to bandage wounds with torn fabric. People wrote letters in the dirt, hoping someone, someday, would understand their suffering. They begged the heavens to explain how the world could allow such destruction. Shiro and other children wandered among ruins, searching for anyone familiar. Some were taken in by strangers. Others survived on charred scraps of food, their young bodies slowly wasting away. Everywhere, shadows of human lives burned into stone, glass, and metal, permanent reminders of what had been lost. Father Nagai, despite his injuries, cared for survivors. He spoke gently, comforting the dying and writing journals to document what had happened. He understood something most could not see: the world had changed forever, and history itself demanded testimony. Meanwhile, the Japanese government prepared for surrender. The emperor recorded his radio broadcast on August 15, 1945. For the first time, the people heard the words of a monarch admitting defeat: "Endure the unendurable, for the sake of our people." The war, which had lasted 6 long, merciless years, was finally over. Yet for Nagasaki, and for its survivors, nothing could undo the horrors they had witnessed. Homes, schools, hospitals, all gone. Loved ones vanished in a flash of light. Even the wind seemed to carry the scent of fire and loss. Aid finally began to reach the city. Red Cross workers, doctors from across Japan, and volunteers arrived with supplies. But nothing could reverse radiation burns, grief, or the psychological scars of witnessing mass death. Shiro, now slightly older, walked through the city's skeleton, staring at the blackened remains of the cathedral. He touched the ground where his parents had fallen. He whispered, "I will remember. I will live, so you did not die in vain." Globally, the world reacted in shock and awe. Some called it the end of war. Others questioned the morality of using such a weapon. Debates erupted. Was it necessary? Could there have been another way? History would never provide a clear answer, only the evidence of ash, shadows, and sorrow. The second bomb on Nagasaki became a symbol of human ingenuity twisted into a tool of unimaginable destruction. It tested humanity, its morals, its restraint, and its ability to survive horror. Years later, Nagasaki rose slowly from its ashes. New buildings, schools, and hospitals were rebuilt. Memorials were erected for those who died, their names etched in stone. The city became a place of remembrance and reflection, a warning to future generations. Survivors told their stories. Children who had lived became teachers, doctors, and writers. They carried scars not just on their bodies, but in their hearts. And every year, candles flicker in Nagasaki, reminding the world of the day when fire fell from the sky, and humanity was tested in the most extreme way. Even today, when the wind blows over the mountains, whispers of that morning seem to echo. A city once silent in terror now speaks of loss, endurance, and the fragile, unbreakable thread of hope. Because history, like Nagasaki, remembers. And humanity must never forget.